Hello again. Some of you have been making some helpful suggestions, and of course I couldn't resist seeing if I could shave a few more bytes off this, and I have done a few, so I thought I'd show you where I've got to. So this is the program as I left it at the end of the last video. It works, and including the BBC setup bits, we're at 144 bytes. Go back in the editor. Now the first thing that seems obvious to everyone except me is to remove the -1 there and just compensate for it in the arithmetic, and so that just involves adding 1 there and changing that to 63 because we're adding on 2 times that instead. So that gives the same output, and we're at 142 bytes. We've saved 2 because we've removed the -1. Right, now the next thing lots of people have suggested, is there a way to get rid of the 2 loops? Now, the only reason we run the 2 loops is the first one, repeat until, is just to loop infinitely, and the second one is to count the characters as they go across the screen, so we can do something special at the start of the line, which is to reverse B again. Now, actually what happens is we reverse B every character, and so at the start of the line we reverse B again, so we're effectively not reversing it when we're at the start of a line. So of course if we can detect the start of a line in a different way and handle that in a smaller way, then of course we can save a few bytes. So the way I've come up with doing that is to change this to be this instead. Now when I do that, I can then get rid of the for loop and the -b bit in there and the next, and hopefully the program still works, and we've saved 4 bytes. So what this does is we're multiplying B by whatever is in the brackets at the start of every character, and what we're multiplying it by is whether the position of the cursor is at column 0 or somewhere else. So when it's at the start of a line, the position will be equal to 0, and pos greater than 0 will be 0 itself, false. That'll be multiplied by 2 to still give 0, and we'll add 1 to get +1, so we'll end up with B multiplied by 1, which will leave it exactly the same as it was before. However, when pos is greater than 1, i.e. it's somewhere along the line other than the first column, pos greater than 1 will be true, which will be -1 in BBC Basic, multiplied by 2 to give -2, and we add 1 to -2 to get -1, so we're going to multiply B by -1, and it's going to be reversed the sign of it. So that combines those two and saves 4 bytes. Now the only other thing I've come up with so far is I just noticed I could combine 2 numbers up here, the 241 and the 23. If I do that, here I can just save a byte by printing another 16-bit number. Just run that, check it all works. There we go. 137, so we've saved a byte there. And of course the only reason why I'm printing these numbers in hex as opposed to decimal, I mean they're the same length in either one, is just that I can do the arithmetic to convert these numbers, combine 2 8-bit numbers into one 16-bit number in my head, whereas I can't do that. If they were in decimal I'd have to get my calculator out. Some people have suggested that there is some way in which I could change the numbers of the characters I've redefined to be 2 apart, so I can avoid this multiply 2 here, but I haven't worked out a way of doing that easily because I still need the random numbers to be 2 apart, and so I end up just moving the multiply 2 up here, so I'm not sure I save anything, but somebody may come up with something clever there. So anyway, that's as far as I've got so far. Oh, somebody else did suggest changing false to 0, but false is a token, so although it does look smaller on the screen, and if I change it to 0, yes, it still works. The actual code is still the same size, so we don't save any bytes, although of course if we're aiming to have the code look smaller, that's a good thing. And I don't know really why this is pertinent, but let's just remove the BBC specific bits to get the actual algorithm onto one line. And there we go, that still works. Colours, we're down to 60 bytes, so we've made it a bit smaller. So anyway, hope that keeps you busy for at least an hour or two. Thanks very much, and keep the comments coming, and see you next time.